I am one of 79 children raised by my mother and father, and needless to say, transporting us was no small feat. Honestly, I did not realize that riding a mobile home was not normal for most families until I was 19 years old. Honey, we was in that camper, honey, going everywhere. As a child, I never had to guess what my mom or dad were thinking. My father was one that taught all the time. I mean, everything was a lesson. This man had instruction steps 1 through 5 on how to tear saran wrap. We had classes on everything from raking leaves to folding towels and how to hang the hanger the right side. I'm like, gosh, is it that serious? Now, we were a church-going family, but as a little girl, we didn't have a children's church or nursery. So that meant when you came to church, everyone was expected to sit where? In service. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Whether you were a newborn, a toddler, or a preteen, by and by, oh, when the morning comes, when all the saints of God are gathered home, we I was hoping you were going to feel uncomfortable, because my point was, if you're feeling uncomfortable, right now, that was exactly how we felt when my mom was staring at us if we was acting up in church. You know what I'm saying? That look. Whether she was in mid-sentence, mid-prayer, or mid-song, that stare was all we needed to get our little selves back in order. But what if your life was all but orderly? What if your start was all but orderly? 1 in 5 of our city's children go to bed hungry every night, with only 33% of our children kindergarten ready. And across our country, nearly half of all babies born each year are born in poverty. Living a life that starts from day one in poverty lends itself to constantly being in crisis mode. Where I work, it's not uncommon for a mom along with her newborn to make us her first stop on their way home from the hospital to pick up diapers or other necessities. So here is poverty, overshadowing that baby before he or she ever makes it home for the first time. One message we constantly communicate to those we serve is that properly touching, talking, reading, and playing with your child is the key to their first critical years of development, because I firmly believe that our first years do last a lifetime or 20 years to life. Science tells us that the first 3 years of life are crucial in the development of the human brain, the child's brain. And while I'm no scientist, I know the brain has billions of neurons firing. And those neurons form trillions of synapses. I know that early brain development is built upon stimulus and response model, and that 80% of the volume of a brain is formed by the time a child is 3 years old. It has also been proven that brain development is highly influenced by one's environment. Understanding that positive events reinforce positive wiring and negative events have the opposite effect. This wiring influences cognitive, social, and emotional development. Now, maybe some of you already know about brain development, but I did not understand the importance. I just kind of thought kids automatically should be valued, productive, morally centered, and basically happy, because that's the way I was raised, in the camper, or in, everywhere else we were. But for some, it's not that simple. What may seem as a simple act for some may be a great feat to others. Believing that a child is a child and they'll just turn out fine because when they get to kindergarten, they'll take care of it. Often saying the school will be the place that it'll get taken care of. Often saying things like, I have other children. I've got to keep a roof over everybody's head. Food's got to be put on the table. And that takes up every day, all of my day, and I ain't got time to think about nothing else. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, it may seem cliche, but this is a harsh reality that we who serve the poor and underserved encounter every day. Helping folks is hard. And while I can do this for a minute, I have to say, today I'm thinking about folks we've got to help, and I don't have an answer. It's messy. And sometimes in each case, every case is tougher and tougher than the one that comes next. The one that came before is hard, then the next, and then the next. And sometimes all you can do is pray for help to figure it out because you can't create a program for everything. The good news is that negative experiences can be rerouted and correction can take place. I personally lived in a home where my biological siblings and I were raised along 75 other siblings with no government assistance, and my parents didn't have much money. Some came because they were seeking guidance, support, or needed a different environment. Others had lost their parents. And then we had those that were there because of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, neglect, and the list goes on and on. Whatever the situation, my parents made a decision to invest not only their resources, but they gave their time and to help wherever they could. I personally witnessed my siblings experience compassion and nurture that sometimes they had never experienced before, some exhibiting a tough shell because of the resilience needed for them to survive on the streets or fend for themselves in their own home. Imagine finding yourself responsible for 3 other siblings because your mom has checked out of life and you're only 5 years old. It sounds unreal, but it's true. What in the world do you do with the anger and the lack of connection? Because your first years were hijacked, and all you know is, if I'm hungry, I'm going to steal it. But over time, the negative turned into positive, and those with significant challenges experienced a rebirth of sorts, where the resilience combined with intentional parenting redirected the trajectory, unfolding new and life-giving possibilities. The sad, sometimes horrible memories were still there, but for the first time, they could truly experience a positive life. Of those who experienced the most challenges, total recovery was not a reality, because their early years had affected them so much, so negatively. They may have experienced an improved life, but it was not a correction course. It was already too late. This is not a race problem. This is a human problem. And our society, our America, is only as strong as the life that has the greatest need. I have sisters and brothers all over the United States who live productive lives now. But to see that reality took me 47 years and counting. Hallelujah. Time is precious. It's a commodity. And in the plight to help young lives thrive, we have to do more than just give it to somebody else to do. I love working with youth, and every summer, I love introducing them to new people, new ideas, productions, and things like that. And they love playing tricks on me because I'm an easy target. Anybody know what this is right here? I'm getting all them nicks when I get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Sharing your time, sharing your life is key to helping our children have a better chance to live their best life. What are you willing to do to help turn our failing communities around? Remember, every moment counts because our first years do last a lifetime.